No, it's not just narcissists that can discard partners. Avoidants absolutely can and do discard partners. The discard is defined by the behavior, not the intent. It is the behavior that defines a discard. A discard is an abrupt, unilateral ending of the relationship. The person being discarded didn't see it coming. They're absolutely blindsided. On top of that, they're given little to no explanation as to why the relationship is ending. Just vague answers at best, or possibly even ghosted. And they're shown a complete lack of empathy while they're being discarded. It is a very painful experience, and it is not a typical breakup whatsoever. It is like a freight train hitting you out of nowhere. Now, if you're being thrown in the trash, does it really matter why you're being thrown in the trash? You're still being thrown in the trash. Narcissists and avoidants will throw you out and make you feel like you don't matter for different reasons. Now, narcissists, they've grown bored of your supply. Narcissistic supply is the attention, affirmation, validation, and adoration that a narcissist feels entitled to. They are bored of your supply and they've moved on to new supply, and you are no longer of use to the narcissist. They're just simply done with you. That's it. You never mattered to begin with because they never actually love or care for their partners. But now your purpose to them has been fulfilled, so you're done. An avoidant, they've had their fears triggered. They discard out of fear. And they fear emotional intimacy because they fear that emotional intimacy leads to abandonment. Avoidants were emotionally neglected as children. They were not shown love and nurturing in the way they needed emotionally. So they learned to associate getting close with somebody with abandonment. That if anybody gets into their heart, they're going to figure out that they are in fact too good for the avoidant, and they're going to reject and abandon them. So the avoidant, well, they fear that emotional intimacy is going to lead to them having their heart broken. So it's safer to do the abandoning than to risk being abandoned themselves. Narcissists as well as avoidants both struggle with self-reflection. Narcissists do not self-reflect at all. An avoidant can, but it's very difficult for them. They take their feelings and emotions and they bury them. They don't like to reflect on them because they fear processing emotions. That's painful. They don't like to do that. They learn to run from problems rather than face them. They avoid them. That's why they're called avoidants. So they take their feelings for you, they suppress them, and they don't allow themselves to access their feelings for you when they're doing a discard. That's where the lack of empathy comes in from an avoidant. They're just simply not allowing themselves to feel the empathy or to feel any of their feelings for you whatsoever. So they can become very cold during the discard. It can be like you're dealing with an entirely different person. And understand, discarding is not a normal behavior. It is not what an emotionally healthy person does. Now, emotionally healthy people sometimes need to end a relationship. Sometimes breakups do need to happen. Sometimes people aren't compatible, and it could be for various different reasons, including core values. And that's okay. Sometimes relationships do need to end. But a discard is a very, very painful thing to do to somebody. You're giving them no explanation as to what happened, and you're showing no empathy for their pain. The reason why avoidants don't give an explanation is because they don't self-reflect on their feelings. So because they don't self-reflect on their feelings, they never process them, and they don't really know why their fears are being triggered. So they can't really give you a clear answer as to why they're behaving this way. They just act completely out of fear, and reflecting on those feelings is just too painful for them, so they avoid it. Now, if you don't think about your feelings, how can you possibly articulate them to somebody else? That is why the avoidant will often give very vague excuses for the discard, such as, I can't give you what you need. I'm just not ready for a relationship right now. Work is just so busy right now. I just don't have time for a relationship. I need time and space on my own to heal and work on myself. Those kind of vague excuses are surface level answers that an avoidant feels comfortable giving because they don't want to reflect on what's actually going on with them and where their fears are actually coming from. So to summarize it, a discard is the behavior. If you are taking someone, you're essentially throwing them in the trash abruptly, you're not showing them empathy, and you're not giving them an explanation, that is a discard. It really doesn't matter why the person is doing it. For example, if I'm punching you in the face, but I don't mean to hurt you, doesn't make it any different. You're still getting punched in the face. It's the behavior that matters. Ultimately, you are in a relationship with the behaviors of a person, not their intent. Because the behavior is how you're actually being treated. And a discard is just not what emotionally healthy people do. It is worth noting that avoidants absolutely can change. They can heal. They can become better, healthier partners. They can heal those attachment wounds and actually change. The thing is that the avoidant has to be the one to want the change, and they have to want the change badly enough that they're willing to do the difficult self-reflection that is required to change. Narcissists, on the other hand, generally don't change. That's a personality disorder. Avoidant attachment is just an attachment style. It is learned behavior, and like any learned behavior, it can be unlearned. Nobody should be demonized for their attachment style. However, it certainly is okay to recognize what healthy behavior is and what unhealthy behavior is. And it certainly is okay to say, this kind of unhealthy behavior, I don't want to be treated that way, and I'm not going to tolerate that in my own life.